Joe Samaniego, Ben Schneider from Portland International Raceway. And Ben, we saw Coyote cross the track. The luck of the Coyote helped Shane van Gisbergen, who had an eventful race. First lap, first corner, Sam Mayer, him and those two collide. He goes off track, pit strategy that we all shook our heads wondering, what are they doing? They're towards the back. Comes to the front, couple late restarts later, gets around Justin Allgaier, pulls off a win, a dramatic first win for Shane van Gisbergen. Do you think this feels a little bit more rewarding compared to had he dominated a road course race, or in the cases sometimes the path clears in front of you because the leader's crashing and you inherit the win?
Yeah, well, I'm sure he would have liked to dominate instead. It would have been a much less eventful day, much less stressful day, but he ends up with a trophy one way or another, however you look at it, and fitting for colleague, the trophy hunting motto that they have. It's been a while since we've been able to say that about them, and been a while since we've seen SVG running up front here. You really have to go back to the last road course race at COTA, which, again, he was up in contention for, led a bunch of laps, and probably deserved to finish second at minimum. Of course, he got caught out with the penalty for cutting the course, which I still think was way too harsh. But regardless, great to see him back up in top position today, and his first career Xfinity win. Of course, he got the Cup win in the Project 91 car last year at Chicago, but his first Xfinity win today. Huge momentum for him, and especially since we have Sonoma, another road course coming up next week.
And of course, Shane van Gisbergen had that earlier. Here's what he said in the press conference regarding going off and coming back.
Yeah, well, unfortunately the team went the hard way there with AJ coming back on the track, taking out the splitter, so he learned that for me. And that was, as soon as I went off the track, it was straight away going through my head, how do I get back on the track without damaging the car? So I was searching for a smooth line, and probably could have got on the track a bit quicker, but I just tried to look after the car a bit. But yeah, my mistake, I just went through there, got on the dirt offline, and got off the track.
Now, one driver that looked like was starting to make progress come back, but then a blown tire at the end after contact with the wall behind us. Sam Mayer on the pole, then got spun out. Race seems to be pretty much done, but he worked his way towards the front. He just seems to have bad luck at this track. It seems like first lap corner just seems to be his weakness. Is this something where maybe they start thinking, okay, maybe it's not so much the aggression, but maybe a little bit of putting yourself in a bad spot? Because that move, Shane van Gisbergen was there. Do you think Sam Mayer may have been a bad fault?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, regardless, it's hard not to feel bad for Sam Mayer with everything that he went through today. Obviously, starting on pole, and imagine what confidence that gives a young driver like him to outqualify the A.J. Allmendingers and SVGs. And Justin Allgaier, the world, his teammate, had a strong run today as well, and was up in contention. Lade was the driver that SVG passed actually to take the win. So. It's unfortunate for him to get shuffled all the way to the back and then have to work so hard to come back up to the front and be in contention for maybe not a win, but certainly a top 2 or 3 finish, and then have it all go to waste anyway. It's got to be pretty disappointing.
And disappointing, A.J. Allmendinger, what an eventful day. Here's what he said to me after the race.
Yeah, I mean, it was, my effort was poor, but I'm really proud of and thankful, more than anything, proud but especially thankful and appreciative of all the men and women at College Racing for just keep pushing and having to get a backup car ready in 2.5 hours. Shane's world class, so it's really good that the team, the organization as a whole, got a win. I won't comment on my effort. It's or my ability, but just thankful for the people I got around me.
Now, Ben, A.J. Allmendinger, obviously hard on himself, but we're coming to Sonoma. Do you feel that's just a good opportunity where he may feel like the momentum's on Shane's side, but do you think the momentum will sort of come to that organization? Because Josh Williams, 7th place, so overall, good day for College Racing.
Yeah, great to see Josh Williams up there as well. Obviously everybody talks about AJ and SVG on the road courses, but for all 3 colleague cars to be up there in the top 7, really, really solid day for that organization, a day that they needed given how their season has started so far. And obviously I think, anytime you go to a road course, AJ is part of the conversation. Sonoma, though, has historically not been one of his stronger road courses throughout his stock car career. So you could look at it from that perspective and that angle, but on the other hand, you could maybe say that he's due for a good run there. Had a solid run in Xfinity last year. Obviously, he was full-time Cup in 2023, but still a road course where he's yet to break through neither Xfinity or Cup in his career. So, he's going to be looking for a solid run next weekend for sure.
This race I felt was physical, but it wasn't as crazy as last year. The year before, well, that was wet weather. I feel that was very different. Now we've had 3 races here in Portland. I feel they've been all pretty similar. When it comes to the racing in Portland, do you feel like it has evolved, or is this just a track where the combination of 30-plus Xfinity cars, this kind of racing, it just seems to put on I would say, a fairly good show compared to even the Cup Series on road courses where we know the struggles with that car?
Yeah, obviously the next gen, I don't think it's helped the Cup Series road course package, but I think, the Xfinity car is great on all types of tracks we go to, whether it's intermediates or short tracks or super speedways and, of course, road courses here as well. I thought it was a great race today. All things considered, relatively clean race until you got into the last stage. It's unfortunate that we had so many cars, probably 6 or 8 at least, with pretty heavy damage in that turn 12 incident there. A little surprised he didn't go red, but they got the cleanup done very quickly, which was nice to see. So we got a few laps of racing in at the end. Certainly a lot of disappointed drivers from that, but all in all, I think the fans that came out today got a great show, and hopefully it's a good sign for this track's future on the NASCAR schedule.
Now, when Brandon Jones crashed, of course, Justin Allgaier was leading. He did not want to see a late caution. Of course, that was in the restart where it occurred. Here's what Justin Allgaier told me after race in regards to losing the race win.
No, it's just one of those days. Had such a fantastic ramp finish on Coach Camaro all day. Did all the right things, just the race restarts there. We were so free taking off, and every restart we were freer and freer and just made it harder and harder. And I didn't do myself any favors once he was able to get by me. I tried really hard to catch back up to him. It probably just made the tires even matter. But, proud of the effort. This 7 team is unbelievable. They're truly incredible. To do what they did on pit stops today, the timing of the pit stops, just the whole day was really good for our team. Just I didn't do a good job at the end there. I didn't execute. And obviously SVG is an incredible road racer and made me pay for it today. So, I'm going to go to work. We'll go back to Sonoma next week and go out there and try to do one spot better and see what we can do.
Now, Justin Allgaier, compared to what happened to Charlotte in the Xfinity race, not exactly good. But then it seems the Coca-Cola 600, everybody's praising him, talking about potentially him earning another shot at the Cup Series. Comes out here, wins the 2 stages, looked really good and fast. It just at the end, it just seemed Shane van Gisbergen had a little bit extra. Do you think the positive feedback from the Coca-Cola 600 being that one race with Hendrick Motorsports maybe has sort of rejuvenated, or maybe he has learned a little something to dig a little more and get more out of the car?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, everybody was pretty much universal in their praise for Allgaier and what he did last week for Hendrick Motorsports. And, if he had won the race, it probably would have been the question that I asked him in the press conference there is, obviously he's got a great deal with Junior Motorsports right now. He's been with that team for the better part of a decade. But, if he were to go on, if he had won the race today, if he gets a couple more wins, if he finally gets that championship, would a Cup Series offer be something that he'd be willing to entertain because of how well he did on such short notice in that 5 car. But obviously, as for right here, right now, he's committed to that 7 team he's been a part of for so many years, and I'm sure he would have loved to come out on top against one of the best road course racers in the world in SVG today. Unfortunately, just came up short, and it's been yet another race where he had the win firmly within his opportunity, and unfortunately just couldn't close the deal. So we'll see. Again, we're going to a similar type track with another road course at Sonoma next week, and I imagine he's got to be more fired up than anything to try to get the job done there.
One surprise from this race, Ed Jones. Pretty good run overall. I felt Ed Jones was one of those drivers, especially after you look back a couple of years ago, Long Beach, where he made contact with Pato O'Ward, sort of took out the excitement in that championship. People have sort of been hard on him. He's done a couple of Xfinity Series races, gets a good finish here. Do you think this is potentially an opportunity for him to just start becoming a little bit more into the Xfinity Series, or continue his racing and maybe land somewhere? Because we haven't seen him full-time anywhere.
Yeah, you want to talk about getting robbed for Rookie of the Year at the Indy 500. I know there was all that talk about Christian Rasmussen and Kyle Larson this year. Fernando Alonso won that award in 2017 in a year where Ed Jones finished 3rd in that race. So, I felt like Ed Jones has been really underrated and underappreciated ever since that day. And, it's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to put together a full-time deal, but to come in here in the Xfinity Series in a car that he had to qualify in on time. We were talking about Frankie Muniz, obviously. Ed Jones was one of the only cars ranked lower than him in owner's points because that car is only part-time. So he had to go in and qualify on speed, and obviously he did a lot better than that, coming away with such a strong finish today. So, yeah, I think absolutely. If team owners are watching this and are looking for somebody, I think he's a great free agent right now.
And we want to thank everyone for watching us right here on YouTube, social media. Been a great weekend. Now, Ben, you're going to get ready for essentially the trip down to Sonoma. Just a quick little preview about the Sonoma weekend. What are some of the storylines from this weekend you're thinking are going to continue on over to next weekend?
Well, it's going to be a very similar weekend. We've got the ARCA West race on Friday, Xfinity on Saturday, and then we get the Cup race at Sonoma as well, or Sears Point is last card on Info's Brock Beard still calls it to this day, which I love. But it should be a great weekend and lots of great storylines to be looking at, no doubt. So we'll keep our eye on all of that. And in the meantime, you can stay tuned for Grid Live Encore on Monday, full recap of this weekend's action and the races we were covering on site here as well.
And of course, subscribe to us. Also subscribe to Ben Schneider's channel. You'll see the links in the video description. For Ben Schneider, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for tuning in for the Portland weekend coverage. And of course, Grid Life wrap up on Sunday. We got MotoGP, IndyCar, NASCAR, World Rally Championship, plus IMSA at Detroit, a busy weekend. And then Encore, the Truck Series here and ARCA West. A lot to talk about, and it's all right here. Subscribe to us right here on YouTube.
And Indy next at Detroit. You got that as well.
So much racing. We're having a hard time keeping track because we've been here since, we've been up since 5:30 in the morning. So, and we got in at like 11. So, but thank you to our Patreon investors for making this possible, especially because without it, we don't have the fuel to get here, the food. Your support makes this possible. So, big thank you to our Patreon investors for helping Ben get here. And of course, Jackson earlier this year, 2 races. We want to get more of our team members to more tracks across the United States and globally will be great too. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.